I noticed that rappers were starting to buy shout-outs, but there was no rap pages. There's only one Raptv, which started as just like a name online, and I grew it to 1 million followers in 2.5 months. There's an opportunity to really build something special through content, experiential events that we're just getting started.
Welcome back to another episode of the SMO Show, where we take a deep dive into the lever pullers behind the scenes of everything you love on the internet. Today, we're in beautiful Miami with the brains behind the largest hip-hop community on the planet, Raptv, and founder of the Snow Agency, Dan Snow.
Dan Snow.
Welcome to the SMO Show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us. Yeah, we're blessed to be in your beautiful home.
This place is amazing.
Here in Miami, Florida.
Thank you.
So how are you liking being in Miami so far?
I always tell everyone, I think Miami's the best city in the world.
Yeah?
So if that sums it up for you.
What made you move here?
The same thing as everyone else initially, you know, taxes, weather. For me, that goes a very long way, right? Those are two important things.
Yeah, of
but
course.
After I moved down, it was just the whole lifestyle. Really, I got a great group of friends, a lot of like-minded people. I moved from New Jersey. So I felt like in New Jersey, even though it was close to New York City, you know, it wasn't quite in it. It was always a process to get in and out. So I didn't feel like in my normal walk of life, I was meeting interesting people. I didn't have like a lot of my friends were online friends who I can call, talk to, but it wasn't in person. So it's really awesome now in Miami since the tech boom, since COVID, that I feel it's so easy to meet interesting people that are like-minded, doing cool stuff, connecting. So it's just been awesome in really every facet of life, to be honest, living in Miami.
Besides the weather, has it been like a huge shock from New Jersey to Florida?
I don't think so at all, to be honest. I can't think of any type of shock.
Yeah.
I would say I wouldn't say it's a shock, but the only thing is,
The weather.
you know, but like, I feel like my lifestyle in Miami is a lot more active.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I look forward to the weekends. Like, you know, today's Friday. I'm looking forward to the weekend.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of fun stuff planned. In New Jersey, it was like, oh, it's, you know, the weekend. Like, it just wasn't the same. Like, I didn't have like group chat with multiple friends, like planning stuff. Let's go here, let's go there. Cool events going on. It was just like, oh, you know, I got been cycling, doing some more health-oriented stuff. So just in Miami, just a much more, I would say, active lifestyle.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah.
Yeah, no, I meet a bunch of people that moved down here for the first time, and just the humidity, that's all they talk about. They're just
It was humid in New Jersey, too. So
yeah?
Oh, yeah. New York's super humid.
For sure.
Miami's definitely a next level, but I love the heat. It doesn't bother me that much.
Yeah.
Well, good. You got it year round.
Yeah.
Have you, we got lucky this time with this hurricane. Have you,
Yeah.
You've been here how long now in Miami?
A little over a year and a half.
A little over a year and a half. Okay, so you haven't had to experience any like the crazy hurricanes that come through.
I still haven't.
Yeah, they get wild. We got really lucky with this current one.
I'm sure you saw those pictures and videos.
Yeah.
And you know, I was telling my friends, it's like it's naive to think that couldn't have been us.
100%.
So
yeah,
it's fucking scary.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's really scary, like legitimately scary. You know, I'm not like. The nice thing of living in a condo, like it's new condo building, so they built it to prepare for hurricanes and all that stuff. So it's like I'm not necessarily concerned about my house flying away, but like if all the rest of Miami flies away or is underwater or something,
you got the beach right there. You know,
that's
it becomes your front yard.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So it's definitely concerning. Yeah.
Yeah, Mother Nature can be a finicky one. That's for sure.
Nothing to fight with.
Nothing.
No way.
Definitely nothing to fight with. So I want to go back a little bit. Where did you kind of find your start in social media? So I know with the Snow Agency, with Raptv, you're heavily behind the scenes on paid ads, social media, creative. You have Creative by Kindred as well, right? So I know you spend a lot of time kind of behind the scenes. How did you find your start in this space, specifically in the social media space?
So I got started in the social media space as a sophomore in college, December of 2012. It was just a chance conversation that changed the course of my life, really. I was in the gym. I was a biology major. I was going to be a dentist. And a friend of mine during winter break, I saw him at the gym, and he told me that he was making $45 a week on a Twitter account.
It's big time.
What? I was like, what?
Big time.
You're making over like $3,000 a year, whatever, over that, on your phone, like there's no way, you know.
Yep.
I didn't believe him, and I was so excited that I left the gym and I made a Twitter account.
Wow.
And that's how I got started.
That's cool. And it's kind of spiraled to now you have Rap, you have Hood, you have Bars. What are some other accounts that you have on social?
Well, that's specific to, so that's specific to Instagram. Yeah, so Instagram we have Rap, Bars, Steez, Hoodlum, Verse, Controller. For the Streets is like a content show that we started. I think those are all on Instagram. But then we have, TikTok, we have another 20 million followers. Twitter now, we have almost 2 million followers. Super active there. Snapchat shows, we have probably 3 million followers on through Snapchat shows at this point. YouTube, we have like 150,000. So yeah, Raptv has really an immense following, but it wasn't overnight. It's just been everyone always says like, how did it grow so fast? Like it's just been a consistency for 5 or 6 years now.
Yeah, I found a screenshot on my phone. I catalog basically every single ad that I've ever done since 2015 for every client, every campaign. And I found an ad. I want to say it was for Ty Lopez or Grant Cardone, an ad that we did on Rap when you were probably at 1.8, 2 million or something like that. So before we leave, I'll try to pull up the screenshot and show you.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, because
nice.
I really want to talk about, so how did you discover that behind the scenes world of like Instagram and theme pages and those types of accounts? Because when you picked up Rap, that account was not like that behind the scenes world of social media didn't exist. It wasn't as highlighted and popular as it is now with the OG usernames and kind of those like building a theme account. I'd love to know kind of how you got started in that space specifically.
Yeah. So like I mentioned, when I left the gym and started an account, that was a theme page.
Gotcha.
That was a fitness. It was called Fitness Shredded.
Understood.
I saw it in the gym. I was big into fitness clearly at the time. And that was like, I was, really inspired and motivated. I was just like really into fitness. So naturally I made a fitness account. But it was, theme page. It wasn't me behind it.
Of course.
It was like fitness, motivational quotes, stuff like that. My first theme page was, then I created, it was all through fitness at first. So it was like Fitness Shredded. Then there was like Fit Girls Daily, Fitness Humor. And then my first theme account was after I watched Wolf of Wall Street, and I created Wall Street Wolf. So that was my first Twitter account. Then created Bro Confessions. And then when I started creating theme accounts, that was when my following on Twitter just grew expensially.
Your personal following or the theme account following?
Just the theme
Understood.
accounts.
And so you started on the Twitter side of things.
Yeah, I started on the
accounts.
Twitter. My first 6 months, I gained like 25,000 followers on the Fitness Shredded account. Could have been 10 million for me at the time.
Right.
Thought I had life all figured out. Didn't have to get a summer job.
Did you have a strategy when posting, kind of starting these new pages, or were you just kind of posting what you liked at the time?
So with the fitness page, that was more so just like a passion.
Yeah.
When I started creating the theme accounts and I saw how fast I can grow them, then it started shifting from, okay, what's like the next concept that I think a broad audience could like. And then, once you start getting multiple pages, large followings, back then there was just retweet trading was really prevalent in the Twitter community. So it became so easy if you had these multiple pages when you have a new idea to grow that page. So it just my following just rapidly grew. It took a year to get, call it 200,000 followers, and then the next year maybe 10 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's exponential growth for sure.
So, and then I started acquiring pages with the money I was making. So things ramped up really quickly, learned how to monetize really well through a bunch of different stuff, created a self-serve advertising platform for theme pages specifically.
Interesting. What was that called?
Caffeine Digital.
Caffeine Digital. I've definitely heard of it, but
it was
I don't
big
know if I used it.
For the theme page owners, it was really big in 2014 to 2016.
Gotcha. Was
I
that mostly?
I love that name.
Yeah.
Was that mostly affiliate based?
Exactly. It was mostly affiliate based.
Gotcha.
It was essentially all affiliate based. We found great affiliate offers, built pre-sale articles for them, let people created different angles and such for the affiliates, and so it was primarily an affiliate. Primarily affiliate offers.
Understood. And what made you make that shift from Twitter, you said in 2016? How did you make the shift from Twitter to Instagram?
So I shifted to Instagram because I had the platform.
Understood.
I wanted to get more, more affiliates on our platform, more people sending traffic.
Yeah.
So what was interesting was that at this time, this is now 2014 to 2015, whoever had a large following on Twitter was only on Twitter. Whoever had a large following on Instagram was only on Instagram.
Right.
There was seemingly no one in the space who was doing a good job of doing both.
Understood.
So there's a Twitter community of all the, people with large followings, the Instagram community on Kick, like you mentioned.
Kick back in the day, yep.
And no one was doing a good job of both. So when I wanted to move the platform to Instagram, I had to get into the Instagram community. And I saw that Instagram was able to send just significantly more traffic than Twitter at the time.
It was wild back in 2014, 2015. Just kind of, I remember we used to joke and call the pages like an ATM. You'd buy a $50 ad and you'd get $150, $200 in sales, and you could just quickly scale up a business.
How easy you could make money back then.
Yeah, it was wild.
Anyways, so when I moved that, I saw the power of these Instagram accounts. Naturally, I wanted to make an Instagram account, just like I did on Twitter. I wanted to create my own network. So a lot of the money I made initially, I reinvested it into creating my own network. The first account I made was actually a fitness motivation account. Only Motivated was the name of the account. But then after that, I created World Star on Instagram before they created it.
So you had the page World Star?
No, it was Funny World Star.
Interesting.
We just post like fights or something?
No fights, but it was just like, engaging, funny content, stuff that was already working on Twitter. Because some of the biggest Twitter theme pages, if you remember at the time, were World Star accounts.
They're just posting, like the meme pages of today, but back then posting the craziest things.
Yeah, so World Star wasn't posting on Instagram yet. No one was. So I kind of took their likeness, put a lot of money into promoting the page, and I grew it to 1 million followers in 2.5 months.
Wow.
From zero. And super active, right? Because it was before there was an algorithm, was still chronological. So then from there, kept growing it. Eventually, they made me change the name. So anyways, when it was time to create, before that, I noticed that rappers were starting to buy shout-outs from pages like me that had the audience, right? But there was no rap pages.
Yep.
So I saw an opportunity, not just because there was an organic way to monetize, but because no one was covering rap content on social media, believe it or not, at the time. Everyone's always amazed by this.
Still digital, like World Star with their website and blog.
And
even on
World
YouTube.
Star was never been like a rap news outlet. It's always been like, fights comedy,
crazy,
memes, this, that. Complex wasn't covering it at all. Shader wasn't covering it at all in social media, specifically rap music. So even as a rap fan, I noticed there was just a huge opportunity because it's so hard to keep up with what's going on in the rap world, because there's stuff going on everywhere, and there's stuff going on every day,
all the time.
So I was like, this is something that could be meaningful one day, instead of just a theme account.
Yeah.
So that was the inspiration behind it. Very
cool. So you've been, I noticed you've been kind of pivoting it more towards like a brand, right? You're trying to bridge that gap from meme page to really like a brand behind it, right? With Raptv.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it is a brand at this
Absolutely.
point, but that was my inspiration. I no longer had any interest when I created Raptv to creating a page. I wanted to create a brand that had equity, and that was the intention since day one with Raptv.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
Who are some of the rappers you're into today?
My favorite rapper by far is Kanye.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you obviously saw his documentary on Netflix,
Oh,
right?
yeah, that was phenomenal.
I think it was amazing.
Yeah, honestly, he's one of the most inspirational. I feel like there's not many people that inspire me, but Kanye comes to mind first. He definitely inspires me.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of it too is he's able to stay a kid at heart.
He's consistently reinventing and challenging himself
consistently
so much.
Reinventing himself in every in not just in music, in fashion, in every, even in architecture. So it's he's kind of like a modern day Renaissance man. It's like when these artists used to, like Leonardo da Vinci, all these people, they used to be the architects, the painters, designing weapons. It's not many people do that, and a lot of times today people get stuck in a box. I am, this, I do this and this only. And I've always gravitated towards that because I feel like I'm that, I love to take on new challenges. I like to build new skill sets. And I always say, I respect people that do one thing their whole career, but like,
And it's hard too,
I
because if
just-
you
it's
like you
hard for
want
me
to
to
do
do
other
that.
stuff, I mean, of course the norm's like no, because we know you from this. We know you because you just started a fitness page, so you want to now do like a rap page sort of thing. So
Yeah.
it's like even with that, trying to do a bunch of new stuff. It's yeah.
yeah. So
With
yeah. Anyways, Kanye, I love Kanye, Jay-Z, a new school. I love Uzi, Lil Uzi's. I love his music. Who else?
Yeet, you like Yeet?
I'm like starting to grow on him a
Yeah.
little bit, like a little bit. Like recently, I'm like, oh, his music's okay. I got one of his songs in my like saved Spotify
Gotcha.
playlist.
I was very
He's
impressed by what Yeet and Lyrical Lemonade did
Oh, the
for the
Weeknd
Minion.
too, and the Weeknd.
Oh, the Weeknd?
Love the
Very
Weeknd.
nice. Yeah. I was very impressed at what Yeet and Lyrical Lemonade were able to do to promote the new
Sick,
Minions
yeah.
movie, and like that whole trend behind getting everybody to the movie theater in
Yeah.
suits was just like amazing.
It just shows like rap just truly has so much influence
100%.
on the culture
Yeah.
of society today,
Yeah. I mean, rap
which is
pushes
amazing.
almost every culture now. You know,
Yeah.
it's like people skateboarding, music, clothing, you know, it all kind of is sports. Yeah. It's all kind of like,
Which is culture, right?
Yeah,
it's like
everything.
music. Rap
Absolutely.
music is the biggest, drives that.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, everybody, you hear baller in a rap song, and it's like, that's what all the ballers are listening to. You know, they're out there listening to rap. All the, NBA players, they're going out on the court listening to rap, dressing because of how they saw in, a music video. Or really
Probably
like
90% of people in the gym are listening some sort of hip hop and rap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I am.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. So how do you, with all of the things that you're juggling between, Creative by Kindred, the Snow Agency, Raptv, your personal life, finding time to have fun, how do you keep your, life organized and keep yourself balanced to be able to handle all of those as an entrepreneur?
To sum it up, I think that I'll first say what I see a lot of people doing wrong. Then I'll say what I do. I think that a lot of people who are first-time entrepreneurs, especially younger individuals, is that it's hard for them to remove themselves from the day-to-day activities. And I've always been someone since day one who wanted to build a team, because I always saw since day one that like I'm limited to what I can do. I can only build something bigger if I build a team.
Right.
And I think that's hard for a lot of people, and it stems, what I find a lot of the times, from trust issues. That's all, I always hear a repeating pattern there. So for me, how I'm able to do it is to find people that I trust, that are talented, that are motivated, and let them build.
Understood.
Give them a platform and let them do their job. Of course, I'm there managing, communicating, giving ideas, strategy. But if you yourself are trying to do everything, it's going to be hard to have success in a meaningful way. So that's kind of how I think about it. And when you find really talented people, which is really hard, talented people that are self-starters, motivated, it's like I've heard people say this, and now I've seen it a bit in some of my organizations, is, let them build and get out of their way.
Right.
So like when you find those true A players, which is rare, you'll be able to kind of experience that too.
Understood. What was the, when did you have that realization that you wanted to go from, being, a theme page owner to, I want to start an agency, I want to start a business behind all of this? What was that kind of jump? What was that realization?
So I was never, I wouldn't say I put much of my focus on being a theme page owner since I was like a sophomore in college.
Understood.
So it quickly evolved into me wanting to create the platform, right? I was full-time on that. And then from the platform, my focus went to creating brands, e-commerce brands.
Understood.
So from 2016 to 2019, I was full-time on creating brands. First one was a phone case company called Goat Case, women's shapewear company, Perfect Sculpt, and a few smaller brands after. Had a lot of success there. And was building, decent-sized businesses.
Absolutely.
So we were doing, $25 million a year in revenue with the brands.
Wow.
Theme pages, whatever you want to call it, or a fraction of that.
Yeah, they were just the vehicle to push.
Yeah.
In some cases, the vehicle to
Yeah.
push that product.
So I never like saw myself as a theme page owner. It was like kind of like something I had on the side
Understood.
that I built from just getting started. Anyways, what shifted me was after I sold my brands and just thought that being an agency owner would fit what's satisfying to me and fulfilling, which is I'm a starter. You know, I like to see things go from 0 to 1. I love engaging with entrepreneurs and seeing the insights of a ton of different businesses. I wanted to build an organization. And obviously an agency is a service-based business. You can only scale with people. People are your organization.
Yep.
So I wanted to do that. I wanted to have experience with it. And that was kind of my motivation behind it. And I also thought that, you know, like I mentioned, I was creating brands. I thought that if the agency is successful and we have all these different departments, then we would be able to incubate brands in-house again. So if we're doing a good job. So that was the inspiration behind it.
Understood. Very, very interesting.
Did you always have this mentality from just kind of like the early age, from what you can remember, or was it just kind of been over time? Because it seems like you're very strategic on like what you want and how to get there too.
I've always been, and I want to say, an entrepreneur at heart. You know, like I was that kid on the school bus selling gum, like always looking for ways to make money. So I can't tell you why I was always like that. I just was. I was always someone who wasn't scared to kind of go my way, you know, like stubborn in the aspect. I was always someone who, like, when people, you know, if like people didn't support me, whether it be friends, family, etc., it wouldn't like push me down. It would like create a chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
So I think all those things has been what's allowed me to be a successful entrepreneur. But I've always kind of had that mentality of wanting to create something since very early on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who were some of the role models that inspired you to do that at a young age? You know, was it the...
I didn't have any role
No?
models. The only role model, like I said, was I wanted to make $45 a week.
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't want to get a summer job. My parents kept telling me, you got to get a job. You got to get a job.
Yep.
You got to get a job. And that first year, at that point, that first summer, I was making $100 a day. And I was like on the beach. I was on the golf course, hang with my friends. And like I said, I was like, that was my inspiration, was to just have money to go to the bars with my friends, to, you know, do stuff as a typical bro college kid.
Right.
So that was my inspiration. I didn't have necessarily like a single person that I looked up to and wanted to be or aspire to at that time. Sure, there was things I was interested in and maybe people that represented that, but like there wasn't a single thing. It was always just like, you know, I'm shooting for that. And then as I started getting deeper into that, what my goal was got bigger and bigger as I saw other people doing it. So it wasn't necessarily like a person I was looking up to. It was more so just like benchmarks,
like a goal sort of thing.
Yeah.
Things you wanted to hit in life.
Yeah, or like benchmarks I wanted to get to, and like that kept changing.
Understood. I saw today, totally topic shift. I saw today on your Instagram story you're doing a cold plunge. Is that something that you frequent?
Yeah, so that was through an organization I'm part of called YPO. They always have these events, and it was all. So I won't tell too. Yeah, so there was a cold plunge, a bunch of ice in it. I would love to start doing the cold plunge every day.
Is that the first time you did it?
No, I've done it a bunch of times, but I was just gonna put one right on my balcony since I have all the space.
Yeah.
But I told my building to get one, so I'm trying to get them to.
Oh,
to
nice,
get it,
to put it
so I don't have,
downstairs?
Nice.
Yeah,
In
so
the
I don't
gym?
have to take care of it and stuff.
Yeah, very nice. I'm sure.
So, but I would love to do it every day. I'm sure for those listening, you know, Andrew Huberman talks so much about cold exposure and all the health benefits on it. So
it's helped
highly
me a
recommend
lot.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cold plunging is. I've never done it. I want to talk it. Or I want to try it on our way up here. We were talking about it
for sure.
Yeah.
The people I know that have like trouble even meditating, that forces you to meditate for sure. For me at least, like
be present.
exactly. Getting in there where it's just like I'm cold, but like passing that like 30-second mark, it's just like all right, I'm in it sort of thing. What was the kind of the coldest that you got to?
Temperature wise?
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't feel my hands for 2 hours.
There you go.
But no, like I said, I realized from doing it. I don't remember the first time I did the cold plunge, but you know, I think I was actually probably when I started doing Wim Hof that I like and listened to him, that it's all about your breathing and being relaxed.
Right.
And now that I have that experience, now when I get in the cold, it's very easy for me to just relax.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, start hyperventilating and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So it's like everyone, it's like I was there and I was like, I'm here, I'm present, but like I felt like I could talk to people. Like I was like, whatever, like I'm a little cold right now.
Yeah, no,
it's done in a few minutes.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a little cold, and it's gonna be over in a few minutes. Not too bad. Just
right.
focus on that breath.
Yeah, keep the breath going. I know that's very important. On the topic of kind of like personal health and wellness, are you a morning routine person, or are you more of like a kind of get up and freestyle your day type of person?
Very much morning routine.
Nice.
And that's the one reason why when I travel, it's like throws me off balance when I don't have that morning routine. So yeah, have a cup of water on the side of my bed. First thing I do, chug the cup of water, brush my teeth, wash my face. And then I have all these different like supplements and stuff that I take, which is like for me just like a calming routine,
like a ritual.
Yeah. I have you can see the espresso machine right there. It's just like another ritual I just enjoy. You smell the coffee, and then I go to the gym early. I either go to the gym or I try to cycle.
Gotcha.
In the morning. Gym, Barry's, cycle, something like that.
What was the second one you said?
Barry's.
Yeah, what's that?
It's like a high intensity interval.
Oh, interesting.
class.
Gotcha. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very
It's
cool.
awesome.
That's
I love it.
dope.
I'm addicted to it.
How long have you been cycling?
I got into it during COVID.
Yeah.
So I guess like April 2020.
Oh, wow.
When they closed all the gyms, and I was in New Jersey. I gained like 15 pounds like everyone else. And I got a Peloton on Facebook Marketplace because, right, took like 6 months to get
forever
one.
to get one.
Then I bought Peloton stock, which was a good idea at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Made some good money
Smart.
on that. Sold it at a good time. And then when it started getting nicer out, I wanted to go outside. I didn't want to be home all day. So I got a normal hybrid bike. So I was able to go 10 miles, which I thought was so long. I was going, to places that were nearby me in New Jersey that that were beautiful that I just never went to. So it just was awesome to be able to ride around. I lived right on the water, so it was beautiful, boardwalk. And then I got into road biking because I saw everyone flying past me on these road bikes.
What were you on before?
A hybrid. It was a hybrid.
Mountain bike.
So I was able to go like 11, 12 miles an hour.
Gotcha.
And going 10, 12 miles on that thing, feels like a workout.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So once I was able to go a road bike, then I started going, 40, 50, 60 miles.
Wow.
Getting into the whole cycling community, getting my friends involved, and it became much more of a passion than initially just starting as like something I wanted to do to, not be so fat.
That's so wild. One day I got a wild hair at my butt and I decided, I'm going to start riding my bike to the office a couple days a week. And I live about 8.5 miles from the office. And I just had I had like a big cruiser BMX bike that I bought while I was living in California. And you're definitely right. When you're not riding a road bike, it is quite the workout.
Yeah.
That 10 miles or 8 miles feels like the biggest workout ever.
Yeah.
I definitely want to get into, cycling on more of like a road bike to get that speed going. It's very, very interesting.
So you always try to get your fitness in the morning, kind of when you start in the day?
I try to, just because after work, number one, I am exhausted after work.
Yeah.
I even heard on an Andrew Huberman podcast, like the brain takes up so much energy, and like that's why you feel tired. So it's like, I'm on calls all day, I'm talking, I'm doing work, so it's just like I just feel exhausted, and it definitely shows in my workouts. I'm just like going through like the motions I feel if I work out after work. And things pop up, right? There's dinners, there's this, there's that. So the only way to be consistent for me is to go in the morning.
Just having that morning routine on lock. Yeah, no, I agree. And I could relate to that too, because when COVID happened, I'm like, everything's closed. And I'm like, I guess I'm just going to pick up running now. So I started running. That's really important. But
now we wrote down a funny question that we wanted to ask you.
Let's hear it.
Who would win in a fight? The baby or Lil Baby?
Come on. The baby.
The baby?
I mean, the baby is like, I'm pretty, you can look up some videos. Like, I think he might have killed someone. His bodyguards have killed a few people. Like, I wouldn't want to go anywhere near the baby.
I wouldn't mess with the baby, no.
The baby's a scary guy.
Yeah, I've seen that Walmart video. Yeah.
I think if there was a battle with all the rappers, the baby's coming out on top.
Coming up on top for sure.
The baby is coming out on top.
You listen to his new album? Yeah.
I haven't listened to it. I saw that it did not perform well at all.
Yeah.
But I didn't listen to it. No.
Yeah, I worked out to it yesterday. There's
Nice.
a couple one of them that were kind of hype. Some other were like some slow jams. I'm like, there's certain music I listen to for like lifting weights and then cardio. It was more of like a cardio album for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I thought so a little bit.
Do you feel that by being in the, in the rap industry, essentially, that your kind of view on musicians and on the space kind of shifts? Like, do you think that you pay attention more to like the behind the scenes of it and how the numbers of somebody's release are doing, or are you paying attention to the music more?
I will say, if something sells really well, then I'm like, damn, I have to listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
And also the team on Raptv are truly some of the most passionate people about rap, right? They're like
Makes sense.
they're all, rap enthusiasts, and they've definitely put me on to some people like Yeet, Playboy Cardi, stuff like this that I wouldn't have normally been into. So yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I find that interesting. Like when you're behind the scenes, it's so hard to like, you look at it from the business side of things versus the, like just being able to enjoy something like watching a movie. I'm always looking at like, what was their marketing campaign behind this? Like you see with, I don't know if you saw Smile, that new movie that's coming out. They've been running a big marketing campaign where they're sending people to the baseball stadiums to sit like directly behind home plate and just stare at the screens.
Wow.
And they have been getting so much earned media from it in the press. And like,
That's so interesting.
Yeah, because
it's like a scary movie.
I think so. I
Sounds
think
pretty
it's a scary
scary.
Sounds
movie.
horrifying.
I was just paying attention to the marketing campaign.
Doesn't sound like a comedy.
No, it definitely doesn't sound like a comedy, but they just had somebody sitting there just smiling, staring dead into the camera, and you just saw it everywhere, all over TikTok, Instagram,
Really?
Twitter, in
Interesting.
the press. Yeah. I just,
creative.
yeah, I always find it interesting, when you're behind the scenes, you spend, like you have to notice what's going on, like on the business side of things, and it's hard to look at what's going on, like what that actual piece of content is doing, or that actual like movie or song.
Yeah, I would say
it's
definitely a lot more, privy to like, is a rapper doing this for clout? Is he doing it to be authentic? Is he doing it to get engagement? To cause drama? So I would say always now like a lot more attuned to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's you look at somebody like Tekashi 6ix9ine and you see some of the things that he puts up, and you're like, is this because he genuinely feels that way, or is he just trying to get people to talk about him?
He's definitely, I've met him, and it's like he really, like 6ix9ine is a persona. That's not him.
Interesting. I noticed that in his, when you'd see him in like
and he can put that on.
Oh, for sure.
Like when I like the one
there's
time
Daniel,
I
and
met
then
him,
there's 6ix9ine.
Yeah, exactly.
Danny and then 6ix9ine,
and it's
for sure.
it's so interesting because like when I met him, he was Daniel. He wasn't 6ix9ine, but like he can put that on and just become a serious. It's crazy. I should become an actor or something.
Yeah, right.
That's right. I guess why some of these rappers are really really great actors.
Interesting.
Or great at doing content too.
Yeah.
To promote themselves.
Yeah, just turn it on.
Is there anybody on your radar that's kind of like up and coming?
My friend actually, my friend even said like DJ Khaled. Like, do you think DJ Khaled can get out of character? Right? Or is he acting like, I don't know, like DJ Khaled is a character.
I love the videos of him.
There's no way that like that is, him. So it's like, can he get out of character, or is he so deep in character that he's
right? Like when he's at home with his wife, is he laying in bed going, another one?
Or a wife or something. God did.
God did. Yeah, they didn't believe in us. God did.
Yeah, like you think he's like, doing that behind closed doors?
Yeah.
He's pretty deep.
He's got to be in deep. But I mean,
it's like some of these actors who can't get out of character.
Yeah, like you see, who was it? Austin Butler that just played Elvis in the new Elvis movie. When I saw
that movie was phenomenal.
Wow, the editing was just like insane.
I don't know if I finished watching it. I watched
super long.
It was a long movie. Yeah,
yeah,
it's like 3.5 hours.
It was incredible.
But if you watch interviews with him after, he hasn't lost that character. Like I was watching an interview with him. I don't know, probably. It's got to be 2 years after shooting it, because they started shooting that movie like 3-4 years ago.
Unconsciously, you might just be
unconsciously.
Like,
he is just like got the same voice, got the same. Yeah.
Well, he lived in that character in his apartment. I believe it was Nashville.
That's
he
so
had all the
trippy to think
photos.
about doing.
Yeah, he had all the photos of Elvis in the different eras too. And then I believe
so trippy.
Someone could fact check me on this, but I think he had to go to the hospital because he had a stomach issue that Elvis eventually got because he was so deep into the character. That's what I'm saying. Someone could fact check me on that, but I'm sure I read that.
I feel like we got to check out on that guy who played Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yo, so I haven't seen any.
Dude, someone's got to check on that guy.
I've only seen the memes teams behind
Evan,
that? I haven't
and I
even
was
seen
like-
any
Let's get a
episodes.
camera on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Keep an
24/7.
eye on him. Make sure he's doing
I mean,
well.
he played that remarkably
Did
well.
I
Did you
haven't
finish
was
seen
it? I haven't seen it yet.
I didn't finish it, but it's like this is just feel like you're watching him. It's like scary.
That's wild. Yeah, some of these actors and actresses getting so into character where it's like you see videos of them walking around in the street and you're like, wait, but you don't act like Monica from Friends, or something like that. It's so insane to see. Who are some of the people that you've run into, like being in the hip hop industry? Like, you mentioned Tekashi 6ix9ine. Who are some of the people that you've run into that maybe had a good experience or, a less than ideal experience?
Yeah, I would say a good experience. I don't personally engage with too many rappers. A lot of my team does that.
Understood.
Typically at concerts and stuff like that. I mean, I will say that like one person that comes to mind is Machine Gun Kelly. When I met him, he was like not just a rapper, like one of the nicest people I've ever met. And it was pretty interesting because like when I met him, it was right before one of the shows. Actually, Pete Davidson was there, and they ate like an entire bag of mushrooms and performed. And even right after the concert, he was like checking in on me and like did this, that. I'm like, damn, like this guy is
that's
like
nice,
so,
the
yeah.
hospitality.
I'm like, this is
That's
great.
really
This guy
cool.
is way too nice. Because right, you wouldn't like his persona, right? It's the weird, eating
Yeah.
each other, this, that,
Cutting each
but
other.
like he was like
breaking
when I met
bottles.
him, just like genuinely like a nice person.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I've heard that about him, that like again plays that persona, but when you actually meet him, he's like a very kind, caring type.
Especially
of person.
his
Yeah.
show with so much going on too, to be able to kind of like it takes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
After the show, like I put myself in his shoes. Like I wouldn't be checking it. I don't know if I would be checking it out.
It's tough too. Sometimes you just straight up forget too, where it's
That's
just like
what-
that
that's
person.
what I'm
Oh, like, oh
saying.
my gosh, sort of thing. So
Yeah, 'cause
that's
after
awesome
the
to
show,
hear.
I think he probably had another after party,
Yeah.
and this like so it was like I was just
And
like,
also a whole
wow,
bag
like,
of
this
a whole
guy
bag
is-
of shrooms.
Exactly, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I'm like, I don't know if I'd be thinking about me at that time, but
yeah, right.
who else? There's a bunch of other people that could be managers and stuff like that that are just really nice. Will go out of their way to help you out, check in on you, be open to inviting you to events and stuff like that, introductions. But I wouldn't say there's like a specific person that comes to my mind on that.
On which side?
On the good. On the bad, there's definitely more than a handful of rappers.
Yeah, you don't have to
I won't
name.
go
You don't have
into
to
names.
name drops.
I
Yeah,
won't go into names.
yeah. Rappers are a very interesting bunch. It's very hit or miss. They're either really cool or maybe they're not so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like you were saying, that kind of like turning off the character. I'd imagine that for somebody like DJ Khaled, who's been doing it for 20 years or something like that, that's got to be really hard to turn off that, character, that persona.
It only amplifies more and more.
Oh yeah,
Because that's
for sure.
him.
Yeah.
That's him. Another one. God did.
They don't want you to win.
Yeah, for real.
But I
I
definitely
really want to know now. Like I want to see. I want to
He's
see.
right.
Like,
You haven't
no,
seen him riding down
he's got to be
Collins?
across the street.
He
He's
has
got
to
to.
be.
He probably lives in like one of those houses. But no, I've seen him in his car.
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen him on the jet ski, but I've seen him in his car before.
in the Landaulet with the
With the one
top
that like
back,
with
yeah,
the drop
Maybach.
down. Yeah.
Are you a car guy? Do you like cars?
I like cars, but I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm like a car enthusiast. Like,
Understood.
like I like nice cars, but like I don't know like the engine and this.
Gotcha.
This, you know what I mean? Like I appreciate them, but like I don't know. I don't have time to go to like. I don't care too much about getting into the nitty gritty.
Well, hey, you're in Miami. You gotta have the nice.
Yeah.
You gotta be riding around with the top down or something.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah, it's wild. I'd have to imagine DJ Khaled probably lives right around here. Right off Collins. I've definitely
Yeah.
seen videos of him rolling down Collins on the.
Yeah.
Yeah, very fascinating. So, what's next for you? Where do you see yourself, going over the next, few years? Is it, leaning more into the agency side of things, or continuing to build Raptv, getting into building your own brands? Like, where do you see yourself, moving forward over the next 5-10 years?
I mean, I will say that I think Raptv is sitting in a special spot where there's, I could be a bit one-sided on this, but I think Raptv is And I think that is something that's really hard to have. And I think that for that reason, and the audience and the culture behind it, like we were mentioning, and all the impact and influence that it could have, not just on rap, but like in culture, that there's an opportunity to really build something special through content, experiential events, that we're just getting started.
Absolutely.
So
I saw you recently partnered with Rolling Loud, right, at South by Southwest.
yeah,
with Raptv?
we threw a 2-day concert with them, which was awesome.
Very cool. How does something like that come about? How does something like that work?
Someone on our team, David, got in touch with South by Southwest, and we were gonna, they invited us to do our own essentially event at the location Stubbs, and since Rolling Loud is in Miami, I'm in I'm in Miami too, and we thought that they would be the perfect person to do it with as a partnership, because they they throw the best
biggest
rap
festival,
events,
yeah.
and they have experience executing on it. So, and they have the team, they have the bandwidth, all that stuff. So we thought that they have the rappers, they have relationships. So do we, obviously, but we thought that getting a collab with them would be beneficial for both parties, which it was, and it was awesome. It was a great turnout, and it was the first time where I was able to see the brand come to life in person, which to me was a really
surreal,
special, surreal experience. Like, got ghost bumps and everything, which started as just like a name online to like now thousands of people. It was crazy, and even everyone on my team too was there. It was a really awesome experience for everyone.
Talk about team building.
Yeah,
getting the whole team to come out, and it's cool to see kind of something go from that online brand to really like an in real life experience that like it just takes it to that next level. And I can definitely understand how you
even though real life, I guess, is now going online.
Real life, yeah. What do you think about the metaverse? Where do you think we're going with Web3, crypto, NFTs?
There we go.
The metaverse. What are your thoughts on that?
I am like a see it to believe it sort of person. Like, I think that NFTs are interesting in some capacity, like especially when it comes to events, I think is interesting. And like tokenizing that, so it's like, would be interesting, right? At least for the artists, if they were able to participate in getting all the resale value and all that like NFTs have. But I think, and I was saying this throughout it, but I was like clear that NFT was just a money making opportunity for people. I don't think that there's a reason that certain NFTs should be worth $500,000.
You're not going to go.
Will they be worth that again? I think probably. I think maybe. Like, I think probably, because if you look at crypto, like it has those like four-year cycles where and then it goes
cyclical.
High.
Yep.
So I think that it'll probably do that same kind of crazy bull run where everyone feels like they're FOMOing, they're missing out again. And it'll be that like euphoric moment. I'm sure that'll happen again. Probably not in the next 3 to 4 years, but I'm sure it'll happen again. But like, it's hard for me to see at least NFTs as not just like a get rich quick scheme outside of that.
Something I've noticed from the NFT space is the people that make the most money in it are the people that set up the projects. And what I've noticed is the majority of people that are getting into this space, they like the idea of getting rich quick by buying this picture of a monkey and selling it, for 1 ETH and selling it for 10 ETH later. And like, what I've noticed is really like a lot of the people that are within this, within the space that are in there buying these, projects, they put on the front that they care about like the technology and how it all works. But what I notice is like, they just care about getting other people hyped up so that other people buy there and there's liquidity. I
will say though that, that's the broad generalization. Mm-hmm. There are some really cool projects and ideas for NFTs and people that are creating real community through, events and stuff like that, where like there is value in that. And even some people kind of gamifying the NFT experience that, there's cool ways to go about it, but, it'll be interesting to see how that'll continue to build. Web3, and metaverse, metaverse is interesting. It's so early. that, you know, even like virtual reality, it's like I feel like we've been talking about that alone before we get into metaverse for like a decade now.
Yeah.
I don't know, so long. And it's like that hasn't come to fruition. Like obviously it's around, but it's like it hasn't been utilized in kind of an everyday fashion.
Right.
Like people have they were envisioning it, you know, until now. So it's like if they can't get that to take place, I'm having a hard time believing that the metaverse, or it's maybe, I think it's more so when these big companies say metaverse, it's more so, and even Facebook has or Meta has said this, it's not like you're going into, what is it, Player One.
Right, Ready Player One or something like that.
It's not like, that's not, I don't think that, it's more so just like merging technology and reality.
Yeah.
So like through glasses and have like we already kind of are, right? Through Instagram, the internet.
Yeah, we're like
social
already
media.
moving towards
We
it.
already are, but it's like through just like more utility and more devices, be able to get even more connected to that. Versus like, I don't think it's like how some people initially think, like the Ready Player One.
Yeah.
We're going to be literally escaping reality and people's lives are going to be, I guess some people already have been doing that, right?
Yeah,
If
people.
anyone has been addicted to a video game, like
100%.
you build your persona, you build your, you know, avatar. So it's like, yeah.
I think what a lot of people look at is, you know, they think about it as virtual reality, VR. You throw on the goggles, or you know, you have AR glasses like Google or you know Apple are trying to make. But there's been metaverses forever. I mean, you had, you know, back in like 2012, there was a platform called WeWorld, which was like literally a metaverse without a VR headset. Or you have now like Roblox or Fortnite or you know these other platforms where it's essentially the same setup. It's owned by one company. There's a game that you can go in. There's in-game wearables. You can buy skins. You can buy new guns. And so it's like essentially the same thing. I think it's just like the metaverse that we're thinking of is where they kind of blend that Web3 blockchain technology into a metaverse or into something. And, you know, like you said, I'm curious to see where that kind of goes and like what that timeline looks like on people actually, on mass adoption, essentially.
Yeah. You know, I'm very open-minded to it, and I'm sure there's going to be some projects that do change the world in the way we use technology, but it's still so early. You know, we'll see sort of thing.
Have you been involved in any, you know, Web3 or NFT type of things?
You know, I invest a little bit here and there. I got into the crazed crypto run in 2016, 2017. Didn't do it this time around because I thought I knew better, but wish I kept some of my crypto. But you know, now for me, there's so much going on. A lot of the stuff that we've been discussing in my normal everyday life that it's like I can only, and I also have my own real estate portfolio.
Understood.
So it's like I can only do so much and have so much mental capacity. That I just am very conscious of that and where I spend my time and energy, and know that if I did that same thing again, it would just be a big distraction.
Understood.
From my business and so forth.
Gotcha. Your big real estate portfolio, that's on Decentraland or Sandbox?
That is on Planet Earth.
Oh, Planet Earth. Is that new? Is that a new one?
Yes.
I haven't heard of that one yet. That's cool. No, I'm just playing. Primarily, what type of real estate are you into?
I have multi-families, commercial, condo.
Gotcha.
This one I live in, but I have another that I rent out.
Understood. Are they they're all rented out, or are they all understood? That's really cool. And are they in Florida, New Jersey? Spread all around?
In New Jersey.
New Jersey, all of them in New Jersey?
Yeah, except for, I mean, I wouldn't say this is an investment, but I live here.
Understood.
But yeah, all the investment properties are in New Jersey right now.
Gotcha. Very cool. And is that something that you were, you know, into real estate, or was it?
Yeah, I've always been like, I don't know why, since a very young age, I was always really fascinated by real estate. And that was, for me, always an end goal. And even now, like, I would love, right after I retire, I hate that word, but it's like after I, you know, exit, because I mean, I don't see myself, you know, doing like grinding for, you know, 9-12 hours a day or whatever until I'm 70.
Right.
So it's like, it would be so cool to just, you know, have a real estate portfolio full time. It's like getting into development, stuff like that. So that's always been like really interesting and fascinating to me. I think it's fun, right? Seeing an idea come to fruition,
right?
Taking something over. It's like, you know, it's like a game, and I enjoy that.
You
Yeah.
got the vision because this is beautiful in here.
Thank you.
Yeah, everything you've done with the place that we
Had
see
some
here is
help,
beautiful.
but you always need some help, right?
You always need some help, just like you were talking
Yeah,
about.
exactly.
With your other teams, you can't do everything by yourself. You need, it takes one person to have that vision, and it takes, a great team of people to be able to bring that vision to life. So that's really cool. And you said this place was, just four walls basically when you moved in, right? Or just empty space.
Yeah.
That's very cool. It's
Designer ready, as the developers like to call it.
gotcha. Yeah,
They sell it to you like there's everything in it, and you gotta buy it all yourself.
right. You're like, oh wow, this is lovely, and you walk in for the first day, and you're like, oh, and I gotta put everything in
Yeah.
here.
So it was very stressful.
That's cool. And you said you've been here for what'd you say, a year and a half here?
I've been living in here since mid-January.
Oh wow, gotcha. More recently. And did you have another place?
Yeah, I was in Edgewater, Miami before.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. I think I heard you earlier. You said you were in Edgewater, Miami, and Edgewater, New Jersey.
Yeah.
That's cool. My family is originally from Hackensack, New Jersey.
Nice.
So,
Yeah,
but they moved
close by.
here. Yeah, is that close by? I've never
Close
been.
to Edgewater, yeah.
Gotcha. Very cool. Very cool. What
I was
time
going
are
to
we
say,
at?
man,
Yeah.
I mean, congratulations on everything. This is
Seriously.
this is awesome. I was going to say, is there any achievements that you kind of hold dear and close to your heart that you're like, I'm really proud of this, or even just this particular moment that's happened in my life, or meeting this person? Could be this moment right now.
I mean, I would say there's like two that come to mind. Like one, I've been working with my brother, which has been cool since like 2015, 2016, I want to call it.
It's an older brother, a younger brother?
Older.
Okay.
So it's been cool seeing that, all the different facets of that. He was at first dentist in the Air Force, orthodontist. Now he's like, full-time in the agency.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been really cool, working with a sibling and all.
Do you have any brother fights at all? Or
Yeah, of course. And then another thing is like actually I think he was my second employee ever, but like second employee ever
Mhm.
who I've now been working with for 9 years since I was 20 years old, is still with me today running Raptv, and it's been amazing because he's been like, in a lot of ways like my right hand, and he's in Colombia. So he came here
Wow.
like a week or two ago, and we spent a few days together. So it's been amazing seeing how that came from, I met him on a bodybuilding.com forum, and he's been with me throughout this whole journey. So yeah, that's been pretty cool. There's nothing that comes to mind in terms of honestly like accomplishments,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like it's something that I need to be more open to. Like I feel like I don't celebrate accomplishments really ever.
Yeah.
So like nothing immediate comes to mind, but
I was gonna say, from working 9-hour, 12-hour days, when do you have time for yourself? When are you able to kind of turn the phone on, do not disturb,
yeah,
and be able to kind of do what you do?
I would say honestly for me, like I get the most satisfaction from seeing people in my company grow.
Yeah.
Like grow into leaders, grow into these, confident people, empowering them. Like I truly do get satisfaction and fulfillment from that. Yeah.
That's
Makes
amazing.
a good leader. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's very important as a leader to, want to uplift other people. You see so many people that are, they make it so much about themselves and their own accolades and their own accomplishments that they never highlight that behind the scenes team of people that really, help you win.
In an authentic, right way. I mean, having a 9-year relationship with somebody that you still have today just says so much itself. I mean, you can always notice, like going to a local restaurant that you've been going for many, 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 many years, and seeing like kind of all like the similar same staff working there too. That kind of just says something about the owner. Yeah.
Yeah. Says that they're
Especially in the restaurant industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
I went to a restaurant and this guy said he was working there for 40 years since he was like 18, maybe more. He's like
Wow.
maybe almost 60 since he was like 18. Can you imagine that?
No, I can't.
40 years.
My brain goes too many
What
places.
is that owner doing?
Yeah.
for real. What are they doing to
Probably
retain
said that happily too, like with a
Yeah.
smile. Yeah.
What kind of restaurant was that?
It was like one of these like old school Italian places.
Gotcha. I feel like that's where it is.
That's
you
where
know,
that's where they always have lifers there.
Yep.
What's going on?
They treat them well. They probably pay them nice cash under the table, and they just get to stay there.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people find comfort in that routine and find comfort in that ability to, I'm working at an organization or a restaurant in that case where I know it's going to be here in 20 years. We're packed all the time. I could stay here and be comfortable and kind of build that routine and live, that life, which is rare for a lot of people. There's a saying, too many Indians too many chiefs and not enough Indians. It's like you need, as a leader or as, the chief, you need that group of people that are there loyal and that want to not only, help you win, but be there to like just continue and be the backbone of, companies and things that, in organizations that really, to take it to the next level.
Yeah. Especially in my early days, like building a culture is something that, because I never worked in a like real company ever. Like even before I was an entrepreneur, like, my jobs were, I took pictures at Six Flags.
Nice.
I folded silverware at PF Chang's, and I was like in college, like a golf instructor for like 1 hour time for like small kids. So I never worked in like, I would say a company.
Right. You never worked in a company.
PF Chang's was a company, but like I was in the back folding silverware.
Right. It wasn't like what you're doing now.
So I never saw the on the inside what it was like to have an organization, to have employees or coworkers that talk shit about their boss and those that love it. Like I didn't have any of that experience.
Right.
So when it was time to build a company at first, like some building culture and thinking about that wasn't something that I was spending much time thinking about and whatnot. It was all performance for me.
Right.
Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And like being very emotional about it. So it took me a lot of time to develop as a leader, and I still have a long way to go. But for sure, if your team's not happy, then, it's going to be incredibly hard to have success.
Yeah. You found it hard to kind of relinquish that control over things, like in the early days where, where you were starting out, running everything yourself.
Micromanaging everything.
Yeah.
Wanting it to be done to exactly how I would do it. Getting really frustrated and angry if something wasn't done that way.
But I like what you said about like the certain key players that are just so self-sufficient, where you just trust them and let them kind of work and do what they do, sort of thing. That way they're able to kind of perform super well.
Yeah, and I think there still needs to be that like layer of management and communication, because I know some people do that and like completely get out of the way, and it's like there needs to be some checks
That's
and
when they
balances.
start kind of drifting there, yeah.
But for sure.
Someone's still got to steer the ship, but there's a lot of people that are pulling the masts and making sure that, it's running smoothly. And it's very cool. How did you find, what was kind of like the early days of finding that structure? I guess when you knew that you wanted an organization, kind of what were the resources, or how did you start to learn, the processes of doing that?
Books, asking questions, putting myself in the right environments. So I was always, like I mentioned, I love to connect, meet entrepreneurs, other people similar-minded, similar mindsets. So I was pretty early on, I was always involved in organizations that, my business is involved in, and just getting connections and asking them questions. So whether that be, like I mentioned, YPO, that's a business organization that I'm involved in right now. Before that, I was in EO, Summit Series, affiliate. So it's like affiliate summit back in those days. So it was like, even then, the Twitter community. So it's like constantly networking with people, not just in the intention of just like, like wanting to get connection, but like actually, developing friendships with people so that you can ask each other questions.
Yeah.
It has to be two ways. So doing that and being open-minded for feedback, and being very open to saying, I'm wrong, I don't know what to do. How do you do this? And just taking all of that information and figuring out what's best for you and your organization, for me has been how I've gone about things.
Gotcha. How did you start to find those organizations? What were something that, what were the things that led you to them? Because, I know early on in my business, we had a fishing page on Instagram at the time. And so we would go to fishing trade shows and meet, people like that. How did you start to find, your way into those different organizations? What led you down that path to meet those people?
I was always involved. Like I mentioned, I met my first employee on a bodybuilding forum. So I was always involved in communities in some capacity, whether it be online, which led to in-person, which led to all these. So it's like I was always, always loved getting into the community aspect of whatever I was involved in, because I've been a passionate person, for my entire life. So that's primarily it. It's just getting involved in the community. Where does that community live? Is it online? Is it in person? Is it both? So yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah, kind of like we were talking about at the beginning, those kick communities. Like how many people were met and how many relationships were like
my thumb still hurt today from the
Oh man, all the shout outs. Let me get a 30-minute SFS real quick. Gives me a little bit of anxiety thinking about it, That's it's really interesting.
Well, what do you got going on this weekend in Miami?
Tonight I'll probably just relax. Just because tomorrow I have a long day. Want to cycle in the morning, so wake up at like 5:30. Then I have a bunch of people coming over here for football and beach. We're gonna actually play football.
Oh, nice.
Fun.
Then have a bunch of other people, and there's a party at night. So tomorrow I have a long day.
Yeah.
Sunday, football. Watch football all day.
Who's your team?
The Giants. But now that I live in Miami, I have
keeping an eye on the Dolphins.
Keeping an eye on the Dolphins.
Did you see Rick Ross and Jake Paul put $1 million bet on the Dolphins to win the Super Bowl this year?
I didn't.
I don't know if they actually put it in, but they talked about it.
It's going to be tough to win with Teddy Bridgewater.
Gotcha. I'm not.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you follow.
I don't follow many sports. To be honest,
Tua had potentially. I don't know what's going to go on. Potentially career-ending injury last night.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, it was really scary.
In leg, like hamstring?
No,
head injury. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's kind of the risk you take playing football. I grew up skateboarding, skimboarding, going to the beach.
Nice.
So it's like I played baseball when I was younger, but never got into, sports for some reason. So,
I grew up playing soccer just all through high school. I mean, I've been a musician since I was 10 years old, but then I got really more into fitness just for kind of, my brother was doing it. My brother's been like a D1 athlete his whole life too. And then just kind of more of the mental health factor of just like what it did to my confidence and kind of did to like my body and soul sort of thing. And then also noticing when you're not working out what it does to you. So I'm like, oh crap, I'm in too deep now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always been a competitive athlete since I was like 2 years old.
Very
competitive.
You mentioned books earlier. What kind of books do you find yourself reading?
All kinds. Like you see that one right there. It's a random one. Honestly, I buy books. I bought a book this morning. I don't know if I'll ever read it. I read a little bit of that one. But whenever someone I look up to recommends a book, or someone I respect recommends a book, I'll buy it instantly.
It's funny that you said that. I do something very similar, and I find myself cycling through books.
Yeah.
So I'll be reading like 3-4 at a time.
Yeah, I'm the same.
What are some books that you've been reading more recently?
One really good one that I'm like halfway through is called Chatter.
Okay.
About the inner voice in your mind.
Interesting.
And the positive and negative effects that it can have on you.
Wow.
And just going through a bunch of different studies and case studies and firsthand experiences around that and how you can control that. A lot of, examples of very influential people using a lot of these strategies and techniques and so forth. So that's been a really interesting book. Another one that I read recently that's amazing that I have to finish is Thinking Fast and Slow.
Okay.
It's all about, once again, it's like a psychology book. So that's great too.
You ever get into audiobooks too, or just audiobooks at all, or you just?
I try to do audio. I just get so distracted. For me, audio, it's like I'm listening. 10 minutes later, I'm like, oh fuck! I just like
just missed the whole chapter.
Started thinking about
I was like, where?
else.
Yeah, I was like, when did I? So I'm a much better visual learner than auditory. So yeah,
it's kind of like being present. Like you open it and you're there. And it's like once you look away, you're not in the book anymore.
Yeah.
The audiobooks you could cycle or you could go to the gym and listen to it, and you start thinking about all kinds of other things.
I will say, like in terms of I was never big into podcasts, but like the Andrew Huberman podcast is so freaking interesting.
I'm trying to think what he looks like. Does he have a goatee or a beard?
Yeah.
I think I know who he is.
Yeah, he's like PhD, Stanford professor. So he talks about all these topics that are relevant to everyone.
Yeah.
And brings it in and brings in the science behind everything.
Right.
And how you can use these science and techniques and so forth into your daily life. So it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an overwhelming amount of information. It's very dense.
that's how I'm moving and grooving so much. I'll put on the David Goggins book. I
love that. I read that in like a day.
That's the thing. I've seen that book single-handedly change people's lives, and I'm like, okay, and people that I just expected their life to be kind of a certain way, read the book, and then their life has completely changed for the better. And I'm like, there's something here. I'm a very slow reader. I need to work on that. So I like audiobooks and podcasts. It's kind of how I gain my information because I'm also kind of moving and grooving. But that's one book I've kind of trying to take the discipline, sit down and read. When you're working out in the gym, what kind of training are you doing?
So if I'm in the actual gym, I'll typically just do typical, weightlifting, which is, just like typical weightlifting. But I really do love classes too, like Barry's, like I mentioned, a personal trainer, like kind of does similar stuff. Just because it's like fun. I'm not on my phone. There's music. There's
competitive
energy,
edge
there's other
sort of
people
thing.
around. Yeah, competitive edge. Easy to push yourself. So I really love classes, and like I mentioned, cycling too. So yeah.
Are those classes a one-on-one thing, or are they
no,
group
typically
of people?
They're group
so
of
that
people.
kind of goes into you, like wanting to be involved in organizations and being involved with groups of people. Kind of goes into that.
Definitely group of people. Yeah, gives you motivation, accountability.
Yeah, absolutely. Because other people see you showing up, and it's like you don't want to look like the guy that didn't show up for a class.
Well, no, it's not the showing up. Just showing up is the hard part. It's the once you show up, you can't quit.
Right. How long?
I've not shown up many times. No one knows if I'm there or not. Besides, if I don't show up, they charge me. But the random people there aren't looking around for me. It's just like you can't. Once you're there, you can't quit.
That's the beauty of kind of like working out like in like a group of people too, because I feel the same way when I did a bunch of CrossFit classes back when, and then just like having like your name on the board, and my cardio was so bad, but I was able to kind of like lift a certain amount of weight, so I knew where my weaknesses and strengths were. But I'm also just like seeing the people that got like the number one time finished on the board and stuff, and then I'm like, you know what, I need to focus on myself, and I'll be like working out like in a private gym sort of thing, and then I'm like, I am way too distracted, and I need more of a challenge, and it's like bouncing here, bouncing here, bouncing here.
Yeah.
It's finding out what works for yourself, though.
Yeah, definitely. You got to. I got to get back into the gym more. I kind of took it for granted that I was just riding my bike to work, and I was like, no, that's good enough. But now I'm kind of putting it back on.
Are you still riding your bike to work?
A couple days a week, not every day though. I got to get to every day. I think I'm gonna probably get a road bike here soon, because the bike that I have is a picture like a BMX bike, but on like 26-inch wheels.
That in the sun sounds pretty.
Oh, it's not. It's that's brutal.
Pretty tough.
Oh yeah. Back and forth. It's like 16 and a half, almost 17 miles round trip, depending on which way I take. Yeah, I just decided one day, I was like, I'm gonna ride my bike to work. Didn't think like, oh, I don't have the right bike to do this. One gear, tiny sprocket, no. Definitely not the right bike to do it. But I bought it while I lived in LA very briefly. I was living in Hollywood, and I just wanted something to cruise around, because driving around there was a nightmare. And so I bought that, and it was fine for short little, couple block cruises. And then it just sat in the office for a year and a half or something. And I was like, I gotta actually use this thing. So
you ever interested in biking in like the trails and stuff that we have in Florida?
I've done that, not in Florida. I've done like the mountain biking, stuff like that. I mean, it's cool. It's just like it gets pretty sketchy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know a few people who've had some very, very serious injuries too. It's you don't really know what you're doing. I went to one of the trails recently, and the get smaller and smaller too, and I can't break my neck.
Closer and closer to trees.
Yeah.
That's why I stopped skateboarding. I was too scared that I was going to hurt myself.
Well, falling gets just it hurts more and more the older you get.
The older you get, it hurts a little bit more. Yeah, up by us we have Jonathan Dickinson State Park, and there's a ton of trails back in there for like mountain biking.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah, very cool.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I think we're good to wrap up. Is there anything more that you want to talk about?
Nothing that comes to mind.
Yeah,
we covered a bunch.
Definitely covered a bunch. I'd love to definitely. I'm very happy that we were able to sit down together and like kind of get this going. And
great.
I'm happy that you're
been Instagram friends for so long.
Yeah, for real. Instagram friends forever. I think the last time we did some work together recently for, I think we did a Macklemore post. We did a post.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think we did a post for Macklemore on Rap a while back.
Nice.
So it's cool to put faces to names. I find it, I've met so many people through the internet, you know, same way that you probably have. You meet so many people through the internet and you talk to them for years, whether it's, you know, every day or just kind of here and there. And it's cool to be able to like meet those people in person
Absolutely.
and like gain that, you know, face-to-face connection. I find that face-to-face connection is so lost in this kind of world that we live in. And that was another kind of driving factor behind us, you know, getting more into like making content and wanting to sit down with the people behind the scenes is like, there's so many people you could talk to over the internet, but it's like very nice to be able to sit down, have that face to face, and you know just be able to meet in real IRL, as they say. It's really cool.
Glad we were finally able to do this.
Yeah, likewise.
So is there anything you want to plug to the people, or anything you want to kind of say?
Yeah, if people want to follow me on social media, Instagram, Dapper, Twitter, I am Dan Snow. If you want to email me, it's dan@thesnowagency.com. So yeah.
Very cool. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
Beautiful. Oh, yeah. And make sure, wherever you're watching, viewing, listening to this, drop a like and subscribe. It really helps the SMO show out, and it helps us bring on much more interesting and cool guests like Dan Snow here. So thank you so much for liking, viewing, and subscribing. Peace.